like to say that Lauren and I started Prodigal Overland out of a position of strength. I'd like to say we were doing well and were maybe just a little frustrated with our jobs and routine. But the fact of the matter is we were in a very bad spot. Lauren and I are very different people, polar opposites in fact. And when we're doing well, we complement each other's strengths and kind of offer a complete package. But when we're not doing well, it's very easy for us to be distant from each other. We had gotten to a spot where I was done. I wanted out, and I didn't want to keep trying. I couldn't see a way forward for us. Our personalities and interests seemed miles apart. But she wouldn't let go, and with the help of some friends that were better listeners than speakers, we decided to set out on a new adventure. Taking on the name of the prodigal, a story about a son that wanted nothing to do with his family. Instead, he thought he knew better and wanted to go out and experience all the world had for him. And so he goes to his dad and asks for his inheritance early. And his dad, though I'm sure wounded, relented and gave him money. And so the son sets out alone on the road to find and make his own way. But the money and possessions the son had gathered went fast, and the friends that it had accumulated were quickly gone once the money was. And there, in an unfamiliar land, desperation set in. He was truly lost, and he knew it. It was there in that brokenness, in that desperation, that he remembered his dad, and remembered that his dad had servants that were well fed and well cared for. And so he worked up the courage to return home, not as a son. He knew he had blown that and broken that bond, but instead sought only to go back as a servant. Perhaps his dad would take pity on him and allow him enough to survive. As he walked back on familiar roads that he knew would lead him to home, he kept rehearsing what he would say to his dad. But what the son didn't understand, but soon would, was that his father was a finder of lost things, and though he was wrong, and that he had divorced his dad and his family, that his dad never gave up looking for him. And while he was still a long way off, his dad saw him and ran to him, and instead of shame and condemnation, his dad brought forgiveness, healing, and restoration. The hurts and pain that we carry can often lead to bitterness, anger, and even rage. And that bitterness and anger can often give us a sort of strength to keep us going, but it can't do that without twisting and changing us into something that we never wanted to be. When I take the time and stop and think about what I almost gave up, what I almost walked away from, it's overwhelming to me, and I can barely do it without breaking down in tears. The best part of what we do happens not out on the trails, not in these amazing locations, not even in the adventures we have, but when the cameras are off and I'm sitting by a friend by the fire and he's pouring his heart out and he's letting his pain out. And there in that moment, being able to help him find his way home to the finder of lost things and the restorer of the broken. When we go out now as a family, we don't go out from a position of strength or a position of weakness, but from a position of restoration. And the joy we have is as much in the adventures that we're having as it is in the people we meet and the stories they carry. When we invite you to be a part of the story, yes, we're inviting you out to some amazing off-road locations and some amazing adventures, but we're also inviting you to be part of the story of our restoration and our healing. Hey everyone, Brad here. Thanks so much for watching this video. This was a video that I've been waiting, kind of had in the background, wanted to make and wanted to have the right footage to make it. All the footage from this video was from Ouray, Colorado, and all of the drone footage, I think there's one clip that wasn't a drone footage clip. All of this footage was shot by our 16-year-old son, who has just grown so much during this time, and it makes a dad proud to see what he's able to do and come back, and the story we can tell with what he's done. So big shout out to him. But I wanted to tell this story because I will often get asked when people meet us or out on the trails, or they come out to our events, like, where does the name Prodigal come from? And if you've asked that question of me and I've given you kind of a flat answer, it's predominantly because I don't feel like breaking down and crying at that moment. This is a story that every time I share the story of the prodigal son, or our story, that it's very, very difficult for me not to just become a blubbering mess. And yet I want to tell the story, so that's what this video was. But when we think about what we want to do as a channel and really as a business, and as we take people out off-road with us, like, our goal is for people to have just an amazing adventure, to get to see some really cool things. If you've been out with us, that you've heard me say that my goal for you is that you will try something during this trip that scares you, that you will do something that you would have not done had you been here by yourself. And I say that because I love giving people the gift of pushing past their own boundaries, to really get to experience things that they didn't think were possible, because I strongly believe that when we push past what we believe is possible, our minds and our lives are opened up to just a whole nother world of things that can happen. And another part about these trips that Lauren and I want to be our legacy is the people, is the experience of meeting new friends and connecting out on the trails, and then really, by the campfires at night, and by the conversations where you get to go deeper in these smaller groups and really get to know people and experience and hear stories. We love hearing stories. So hopefully that came through in this video. If you've been out with us out on the trails, man, we would just love to hear some feedback from you on how that went. Leave them in the comments below for other people that are thinking about coming out with us, on why they should or shouldn't come. But guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Lauren and I hope truly to have you guys continue to watch our videos as we continue to make them and continue to grow. But honestly, what I know we both would really love is for those watching to join us out on the trails and let us get to know you and hear your stories. We've got an event coming up here soon, if you're watching this now, in August in Roush Creek, that's already sold out, and we will be working to put events out in the future. If you're interested in coming along with us and you've gone to our website and there's nothing there, drop a comment, drop an email, let us know. That'll help us kind of gauge interest and locations. We'd love to be able to do another trip out in Moab. Ouray, Arizona's great. I've got an ant crawling on me. We'd love to be doing these trips, but we need people that want to come. So let us know you're interested, and we can work on getting stuff together. Guys, thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you again real soon.